Alrighty, this is my third attempt at trying to get this to work. So I honestly hope this works. If not, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is Thomas Evon, and this is CIT 260, Object-Oriented Programming. So we're gonna talk about instance variables. Instance variables can only be called within the method. The variable changes on a per instance basis. You must have an instance created to reference it. Basically, it has to have like a new keyword in order to create a new instance of it. It has a getter and setter function. It gets the input, sets the input, returns a result. There usually is like a private word in front of it because only the class needs to know how to use it, not the entire program. So in the following example, I'm going to create an instance and give the car a color. Here is my class. It's a car class. I have a private string color. Down here is my instance variable. And so here I'm creating a new instance of a car. This function here gets my value. This function here sets my value. And then this is where it all goes down. This is where it starts, of course, because it's the main. And then the system prints it out. It says the color of the car is the instance class variable, and it gets the color, which is blue. Static class variables. Static class variables don't move. They don't go anywhere. You don't need the new instance for it. You don't. You just reference it. It's simple as that. It has a static identifier in front of the variable and the class. And it can be referenced at any time within the class. So here I have a public class of a car again. So down here, this is again where it starts because of the main of string of arguments. We're setting the variable as blue. Oh, it gets C, which is blue, returns C, sets the value, it shows out, hey, the color of the car is C dot get C, which is blue. So the arrays have a fixed length. They must be specified when created, and they can't be changed once they're made. They use primitive values like int, float, and boolean, and they can support objects. I'm going to show you how to create one. So here we have int, the array parameter box, Tom's array equals new int, and we're creating a size 10 array basically here. So it's going to have 10 different indexes. So we're specifying the length there. You have to specify the length. Down here, we not only did I specify the length, but I also created an array and assigned values to it. So it has 5 array slots, but it also has the values of 1 in the index of 1, and then so on, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Down here, you can also do object type arrays. So here's my player array. We got a player variable equals a new player array of 25 spots. So you're going to have 25 different players, 25 different player indexes, basically. Array lists don't have a fixed length. It's a variable size length, or I meant like it changes basically. It has a default length. You can set one if you want to, but it's probably going to change, or it might not, but it could basically. It resizes to accommodate the data you have. Supports abstract data types, and you must add the data type within the brackets, the triangle brackets. I'll show you here. So like for example, the data type is integer. I put it in here. My data type here happens to be puppy. But for example, on this one, I did not create, I did not create an array size. It's just going to be a default. So my array list for my integer is Tom's list, and it equals the new array list there. So it just creates a new array list. If you're not sure of the array size, you can leave it as a default, which I did up here. This one I happen to specify it. I should have put these opposite. Sorry about that. But here, my puppy array list is going to have 20 different puppies. This one, you can add a value to the end of an array list. So Tom's list adds 7 to the end of the array list. Down here, you can get an item or a value at a certain index and apply it to a variable. So this is my variable G. Tom's list is the array. I'm getting the value at index 3, and I'm assigning it assigning it to the variable G. Enums is short for enumerations. It encapsulates a data type. Basically, it takes a bunch of variables and puts them together. It can be inside or outside the class, and enum values are constant. They never change. So like I made a weapon enum here. I put axe, sword, and grenade. So I don't have 3 values in my enum. And public static void. So basically, like if I didn't have the enum, then I would have like a bunch of different variables with like public static what is this, public static, like a public string, etc., or like public integer or public int, etc. So you basically just kind of consolidate them. Public static void main down here. So I'm trying to show you that this is all one thing. I've got my player 1 has a weapon, and the weapon that he has is a grenade. Player 2 has an axe. So 2 different players have 2 different weapons. And if I wanted to call it even, I could go system.out print line player 2, and it would show that player 2 has an axe. If I put an X, I put an X equals player 1, 2, 3, etc. Because I originally had an X here where the 2 is, just to kind of display that I could call any player and show whatever weapon that they had, so long as they were assigned a value up here. So 3 in this case wouldn't work because player 3 doesn't have anything assigned to him. Runtime errors, we have compile errors and runtime errors. Compile errors are syntax errors like semicolons, variables misspelled, things like that. Those are found before execution. Runtime errors is when the program is compiling and executing. It's usually like a logic or a system error. Exception handling makes it easier to fix these runtime errors. So it basically just makes it more graceful. Functions, they detect the runtime error and it throws an exception. So you have try and catch statements. The exception is propagated up a hierarchy until it finds the function responsible for catching and handling the error. You can have more than one catch statement, but you only have one try statement. So like down here, for example, this is just vague. I'll go into more of an example in the next screen, but you have a try statement, and you have code to be executed within that. And then you go into catch, the runtime exception class variable name, and then there's codes in there that would be executed when found in the try statement, or you could have down even further in the exception class 2, like if it wasn't for the exception class 1, nothing was wrong with it, then it would check here, and then if anything was wrong, it would just print out this code if it was found in the try. So like here, for example, I have a public Boolean do action for a string height, double pi, double volume, given values, and it wants us to provide the radius of a barrel. So this dot get input, it's getting input for the radius, creates a new barrel control class. I have my try and catch statement here. And then these are my throw new exceptions. So if like the radius, for example, was below 0 or over 5, it'd say the radius is too high. If I put in like a letter, for example, that would also throw one of those errors. These are usually found in the view area, and then this right here is in my control area. Character stream versus byte stream. So character streams read files character by character, bytes read them byte by byte. And so .txt or text files, they use character streams, and like a Word document, for example, would need like a byte stream. You have to know what encoding the file is. You can't just guess or it's not going to work. If you want to write data to an external file, you have to have this stuff up here. So it imports Java, this universal stuff up here. You have to have it or it's just not going to work. So that's not like what I created. That's just like a universal thing that you have to have in order to write data to an external file. So here we're creating a file, private formatter X, and then down here we're going to open the file function. It's going to try the statement. X is assigned to the new formatter for the German text file. So just pretend that I created a German text file. There's a bunch of German words in there, and it's going to catch something, catch the exception. So if I don't put something in there if I put something in there it doesn't like, it's going to throw, hey, you have an error. It sets X as the file. So down here in my add records, I put x.format, and then these are my values that I'm assigning for X, Ich, Heise, and Thomas, which again goes up into the German text file when I do that. If I wanted to read data to the external file, you could do something like public class read file. You need the scanner variable in there. So I just put variable. You can put whatever you want there, like X, house, etc. I put house down here as the variable. I should have put house by private scanner house. I should have made that consistent. Sorry about that. But here I'm gonna have my open file function, and it tries. So house equals the new scanner, new file, and then it equals the data text file. If it goes wrong, then the catch statement occurs, and then it would print out it could not find the file if you didn't type in house. So that is the presentation for CIT 260. It's been fun. Brother Jackson, I appreciate all your help and all the emails that you reply to. I appreciate you helping out with us and furthering our knowledge. And that's it. Thank you.